in typical Ohio fashion, you'd be hard-pressed to know that it was only 2 days until spring. Standing outside with the wind chill below 20, shivering in the snow. But we wouldn't miss this for the world. This was our last chance to get a photo of our old alma mater before they tear it down. Memories come flooding back as I see people I haven't seen for decades.
Okay, I'm asking people for their favorite memories from high school.
Favorite memories?
My sister and I were the water girl and the trainers for the football team. Had a great time. Went to all the high school games on the field, loving the spirit of Wolverines. Yeah.
I definitely would say running track was fun and throwing the shot put and the disc. Those were my great memories.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, working on the yearbook and school newspaper was fun for me. I did drama. I was in one play.
What play?
Yeah, one play. Sorry, wrong number.
I did drama too. Who was that with? Miss Dobos?
Nichols.
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 Mr.
I
Nichols.
remember Miss
Yeah.
Nichols.
91. Class of 91. We had great volleyball back in the day. All our sports were great, but yeah, we had so many fun memories. Football games.
Baseball champions in 92.
Yes. Christy, what's your favorite memory?
I wasn't ready for that. My favorite memory? Oh my gosh.
I had to get close. 'Cause
There's so many memories that I have, but if I had to say my favorite memory, it was probably all the basketball games we attended, all the football games we went to, just all the fun that we had together as a class. Not one thing sticks out, everything was great. We had a great time. I think we should all borrow. We just did the first one. You didn't include all of them. We were here last week.
Okay, I'm taking an interview.
Okay.
What's your favorite memory from high school?
Oh man, I have so many of them. So many. But I would say it would be the very last day of senior year. I remember that whole day.
Really?
I remember coming to school. Yeah, we just had a blast the whole day.
What year? Is 96?
No, I'm 88. This is just
okay. Ben Nagy?
Yep.
Yeah. What are your favorite memories?
Oh, well, geez. That is a good question. Well, attending the basketball games, tons of people to meet, playing basketball, competing, just, a close-knit group of people that we were able to hang out with the entire 4 years that we were here. It's a shame that these days people are not going to get the same experience that we had. It was a very close-knit school. Loved it.
I remember the giant bonfire in the circle.
I remember the giant bonfire too.
Yeah, they let us do it one year and they said, nope, not again.
Not again.
It got out of control. And then I remember drama. I loved drama and loved the choir.
Yeah. It was awesome. But yes, a lot of great memories here. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm recording. 83.
Yes.
Tell me about your year.
83, well, we had a bunch of people. It was just more like everything else what the school represented, family. If you ever seen a picture of the Little Rascals, that's us. That's this whole community. Didn't matter what color you are, you cool, you was cool.
What'd you play?
I was playing football, baseball. And sad to say this place go down. Once again, politics played a big part of it. And I'm not going to go into it right now because it's another day for another day. But I'm sad to see it go down. It's going to be when the bulldozers hit this place, it's finally going to be. I think folks going to come around. There won't be a dry eye in the house. It won't. Because like I said, we're all family.
Yep. There aren't many high schools like that.
None. I think it's none, really.
High school.
Real quick.
What's your favorite memory of the high school?
My memory of the high school?
Of Elyria West.
Oh, I don't know.
God, there's so many.
I don't know where to start.
10-minute break.
Just being the first class was great. We had air conditioning.
Well, who was
That was Ryan and
Oh, they're not related, but they have cruises in that state too.
Ryan and Corey.
but they weren't related. Because Ryan worked at Life, because that's where I work now. Okay.
I don't know. What did you teach?
I taught industrial education and coached girls basketball and baseball.
Oh, shop teacher?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I almost cut my finger
Yeah.
off.
Did you graduate from here?
I did, with my finger. It did not get cut off.
With what?
I almost cut my finger off in shop class.
In my class? Here?
On the jigsaw.
What's your name?
Jennifer
Jennifer.
Abbas,
Spell it.
Abas.
Well, I didn't have many girls in shop.
I
at
know,
that
I don't
time.
have many memories, but that one I have.
Wow.
That took
I
care
guess
of
I
it.
wasn't doing my job if I
No,
almost let you
know
cut
what?
your finger off.
Maybe it was at Westwood.
That might be it.
Yeah,
Because
I
didn't
probably
think-
did it at Westwood.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank God.
Which is why you didn't see me in your class here. What's your favorite memory?
Oh, I don't have one favorite memory. I have thousands of memories, and I'm still saddened by the closing of this. So, but all my closest friends are either teachers or students that I had made wonderful friends here. So, yeah, I can't give you one favorite memory. I had so many wonderful ones that I just can't count them.
Well, you all made it a great school for us.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
I think we got a very unique experience.
Yeah, it was. It was a wonderful school.
Yeah.
And it always will be. I don't care if they tear it down.
Yeah.
The memories last forever. So, yep.
Names either. I want to do a video. Richard, what's your favorite memory?
Oh, don't do that to me.
What's your favorite memory?
I don't know, all the games.
The games, yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yep.
Do you have any favorite memories of us?
Oh, too many to say.
We weren't too bad, huh?
No.
What did you teach?
They could have done it. Turn it down. This makes me sick.
All the memories, though.
In 1966, the city of Elyria realized they needed to do something about the overcrowding situation at the main downtown high school, Elyria High School, the one that my mom went to. They were pushing 3,000 students and it was getting crowded. So they decided to build a new school, one on the outskirts in Elyria Township. Unlike the main campus in downtown Elyria, this was a completely different feel. It was out in the open, surrounded by grass and acreage. When I first saw the school that I would be calling my high school, after living in Cleveland, a concrete jungle, I thought for sure I must have moved to the country. At the groundbreaking ceremony, Dr. Ben V. Myers, president of the Board of Education, said the school would be a monument in education, a fortress against ignorance. The new school will employ an open space concept, particularly adaptable to such innovative techniques as team teaching. 1973 was a year of first for the juniors and sophomores who called Elyria West their new high school. The Chronicle-Telegram reported on their first athletic contest with Westlake. The Westlake Booster Club made a nice gesture Saturday when it refrained from taking part in its normal fundraising project of giving the game ball away in a raffle. The Boosters instead gave the ball to Elyria West as a memorial to its first athletic contest. The Elyria West Band, like the football team, only recently assembled. But the Westlake fans didn't mind, giving West a rousing applause. West still doesn't have a team nickname, and the Westlake public address announcer unofficially tabbed the school the Westerners. We had a unique experience growing up in Elyria on the west side. You see, our school was kind of an experiment. If you're familiar with the 70s, that was a time of great innovation, sometimes too much of the chagrin of those who had to implement that innovation. Such was the case with our high school and our junior high school, Westwood. You see, we were open schools, meaning we didn't have a lot of walls between classes, meaning that we could hear the teacher teaching science while we were in our math class, meaning that I could look around the portable walls and see my friends in the class next to me. So this was kind of strange. However, we didn't know any different. You see, we went to Westwood. It had the same open school concept, no walls. Well, there were some walls, just not a lot of walls. And then we went on to high school, all of us, and we had the same experience. So what happens when you don't have walls in your school? Well, you see each other. And I wonder if seeing each other really changed our outlook in how we viewed one another. You see, normally when you go to schools, especially the bigger ones, they're going to divide you up. They're going to put you in classes where people are like you. If you really, really excel in math, you're going to be in the advanced math class. Or if you really, really enjoy literature, you're going to be in the advanced English and literature class. And you're going to be with that group of students. And rarely do you get to intermix with those who maybe aren't of the same interest that you have. It was different at our school. First of all, we were smaller, so we couldn't have a lot of classes that were really narrowed down like that. We did have some classes for those who excelled in certain subjects. However, when we were passing each other in the halls, when we were going into our big spaces without walls, we saw each other. We got to know each other. Teachers knew my name, even though I was never in their class. They knew who I was. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if most of the teachers at Elyria West High School knew most of the students by name at our high school. A very rare occurrence indeed. And we learned that we were seen. Somebody saw us. We existed. We weren't invisible. In fact, even when we wanted to be invisible, we were not invisible. We were seen. And maybe at that age, we didn't understand what that meant. However, looking back, we long for that for our own children, to be seen. The interesting thing about Elyria West High School is that even if we were average, we were made to feel above average. We were made to feel special, like we really were important and that our lives made a difference.
And nobody from Wayne County is going to be intimidated by anybody. Because we are.
This Friday with the classic confrontation between the traditional power and an upstart that Bob Stevens says is a most unconventional champion. Elyria West doesn't always make its extra points. Oops. And when they screw up in practice, Coach Darrell Main doesn't act much like Mike Ditka. But this team does know how to win. Their average score during the season, 37-4. And 4 of its players already have a state championship ring from baseball, where they face the same tradition they'll find Friday from defending champion Fall Story.
Our baseball team had never won a state championship before. So, you see, everybody says, you've never been there before, so you can't get it done. What do you mean you can't get it done? The issue is right here and right here.
And right here is another oddity. Number 44 was on that baseball team and is not only a featured running back, but a defensive tackle who's following in the footsteps of West's most famous alum, Steve Tovar.
Steve, he worked hard when he was here, and, he did what the coaches did. He hit the books. And you see where he's at now. He's on his way to the NFL.
What does it mean to know that your mentors are watching you? They're looking over your shoulder. They're cheering for you. I remember clearly my sophomore year was not a good year for me. I was really struggling. I started picking up D's and F's on a regular basis. My report card did not look good. Sometimes kids go through stuff, especially when we've had a rough life. And that year was my rough year. My grades were falling apart, and I had given up on any possibility of going to college by that point. And I remember sitting in English class, and I wasn't doing my best. Mrs. Reeser, I'll never forget, in English class, she called me up to her desk, and she was like, "Jennifer, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know." Why would she be so upset? I was indignant. Why would you be angry at me? This isn't your life. It's my life to live. But it stuck with me. I didn't end up becoming some great English scholar, but somehow I did end up graduating with a 3.5 GPA, and I did get to go to college. It truly changed my life, knowing that my teachers were watching me. They saw me, and I didn't fall through the cracks. In 1994, LaToya Carver, an Elyria West junior at the time, said she attributes the quality of her education to her relatively small school, where she can get a lot of individual attention. Her teachers know her and what she's capable of. They know what to expect from her and what not to take, she said. She continues and says, without the extra attention from the teachers, who knows where I would be now? I don't think I would be speaking in front of you with a 3.4 grade point average. Because of the small school size, we were able to build great relationships with our teachers. I remember even after graduation, my drama teacher, Mr. Nichols, got me into community theater and my first musical, Guys and Dolls, at the Lorraine Palace Theater. He even went so far as to pick me up and take me when I didn't have a ride. The year was 1994, and it was finally my senior year. We had been looking forward to this year for a long time. Finally, we were king of the hill. We were the top dog, and we had a great class. However, our year did not start out so well. We found out that the school board was going to meet about closing our school. We couldn't believe why they would even think about closing our school. I mean, we had just come off of a perfect record football season. We also just won the baseball state championship. Our building was only 20 years old. Why would you close Elyria West High School? It made absolutely no sense. It was a true gem in our city. It was a source of pride for the West Side. So in all of our indignation, we went to that board meeting and we told them what we thought. And we tried our best to show them who we were, because it became clear that they did not understand what Elyria West was all about. We brought our choir, we sang for them. Everybody showed up. It was amazing. And they did put off the decision for a little while. But before that senior year was over, 3 board members voted to close our high school, and that's all it took. 3 people determined the direction of an entire city. Before the meeting, the Chronicle-Telegram reports, West cheerleaders led cheers, the West band played the school's fight song, and the West chamber singers, in full Victorian regalia, sang Christmas carols. It is clear this wasn't a school ready to call it quits. It was not a declining school. It was a school on the rise. Somehow, the students, the teachers, we all knew that it would be a big mistake to close Elyria West High School, and it would have ramifications not just for the West Side, also for the entire city. While we were the minority, we had a minority voice, we still knew the importance of the community that we had built on the West Side. A community and a spirit that once shattered would perhaps shatter our entire city. I think it would be accurate to say we didn't fully understand what made our school so special. And so it stands to reason that those from the outside looking in wouldn't see why our school was so special either. I mean, we're just a small high school. A lot of us came from broken families. Some of us were in poverty, including myself. I had moved from Cleveland looking for a better way of life. I'd come out of the busing era, come from a community where there was so much prejudice, and into this beautiful community of diversity and acceptance of differences. It shocked me. There is a genuine connection that happened at Elyria West High School. And perhaps I just have rose-colored glasses on. I don't think I do. I remember the bad stuff too. However, I believe the good was so much more. So on paper, when the school board looked at the numbers, it didn't make sense. Why pay to run two schools when we could just combine them both and save lots of money? And that's how they would save our city.
Let's go to the playoffs next week. Good cheer, baby. Get out of here. We got something to prove. We proved it. We got something to prove. We proved it. We got something to prove.
When I moved back to this area, I was saddened to see the state of my city and what had become of it. It was so sad coming back and seeing what had happened to my hometown. And just wondering, would it have been different if they hadn't closed my school? The once thriving retail center around Midway Mall, where people would come from all over the county to come shopping, was now a ghost town. During the school board meeting, when Elyria West and her supporters showed up en masse, several options were put on the table. One being the closing of Elyria West High School to save about $700,000 a year in operations cost. The other option was to pass a levy. Now, the levy on the table had no guarantees with it that Elyria West would stay open if the levy passed. So there was a lot of controversy around this levy. The levy was put on the ballot, and it failed. The proposed levy of $37 million would have raised the taxes for the average homeowner about $66 a year. That's about $5 a month. Rick Hutman of Elyria West Alumni Association in 1994 said, "A better method of levy passage would be to focus both sides towards a common goal and not against each other." In 2007, in the Chronicle-Telegram, Elyria's newspaper, when they were proposing a levy that would finally address the dilapidated building of Elyria High School, the newspaper reads, "It's an interesting phenomenon with school funding," school officials say. "Voters reject levy after levy, bond after bond, until they essentially crimp a school district's lifeline. Most school officials say the result is tantamount to a slow starvation that causes a district to fall so far behind that by the time voters do pass a levy, it's like a sip of salt water in the desert. In 2012, Elyria High School finally got the building it so desperately needed. However, by this time, the school population for the high school, which had been almost 3,000 before the building of Elyria West, is currently only 1,695. A student population less than what Elyria High School had in 1996, just before the closing of Elyria West High School. This shows how much the student population has decreased in Elyria since the closing of Elyria West High School. It is true that when people are considering where to live, the number one thing that I hear as a real estate agent is, tell me about the schools. Are they any good? Will my children learn? Will they have a good experience? Of course, I'm not permitted to talk about those things, but I do direct them to websites where they can learn more about the school system. And then sometimes they just write off certain cities because they've heard bad things. It is much harder to fix a bad reputation for a school system than it is to maintain a good reputation. And unfortunately, Elyria had to learn this the hard way. It can be easily shown that thriving cities have thriving public school systems. Or maybe the reverse should be said. A thriving public school system creates a thriving city. So when we take an honest look at what happened, was closing Elyria West the right thing for the city? Sometimes the numbers do lie because you can't account for the spirit of the community. When the spirit of the community is crushed, even if they're a minority, the rest of the city does suffer. It's interesting to think about how vision drives us into the future. And without that vision, we retreat. I think when we went to that school board meeting, we saw retreat. We did not see vision. You know what? That was a lot of responsibility to put on a few people to try to figure out how to make the numbers work. I would say it's probably a testament to the different areas of government not working together at that time to come up with ideas. Perhaps there wasn't anybody with any ideas other than we need to pull back, we need to retreat. And that's what happened at Elyria. We retreated and we continued to retreat and more retreat until all we saw was decline and lack of growth. We're on a different path now, and hopefully we're learning from our mistakes and moving forward. I think about that last class that graduated. They knew before that year ever started, that was the last year. They had to get through that school year knowing that that was the end. Think about the strength that that took. When you see a 1996 graduate from Elyria West High School, please tell them thank you. What they did was really, really hard. As Elyria West was getting ready to close its doors, a few teachers reminisced. 7 teachers who had been at Elyria West throughout its 23-year history were interviewed. The Chronicle Telegram is quoted, "It is hard for the teachers to talk about the prospect of returning to Elyria High. Teachers who spoke eagerly when asked about Elyria West's early years suddenly became quiet when asked their thoughts about going back to Elyria High. Mr. Westbrook finally said, 'Obviously, we would much prefer to stay here.' Mrs. Wiedenheft said, 'The move will be difficult. It's hard to express how special it feels to be in a small building and to have been here for all of the first,' she said. Mr. Westbrook eventually put it a little more bluntly. It's like watching your kids die. We should retire. The building shouldn't close. Mrs. Kokai said they will have to get used to a building that is much larger and has more than one floor. At Elyria West, she says, you can go anywhere and back in a minute. It's going to be very different not to know most of the students. Mrs. Dobo said that Elyria West staff and students worked hard for years to build an identity in a district that was dominated by the larger, older Elyria High School. I think we've gained respect and prominence, she said, and that's being taken away. At Elyria West final commencement in 1996, the superintendent graciously decided not to attend so that there would not be any politics during the commencement. Lisa Gentry, whose commencement speech was chosen by the school staff, told the capacity crowd that the school board flunked in voting to close Elyria West and consolidate it with Elyria High School. She's quoted as saying, "It was the effortless conjecture of 3 out of 5 board members that did this." Ms. Gentry said, if you're put in a situation where you have the choice of saving a 23-year-old life, I would hope you would save it. But the school board has unknowingly taught us how harsh the world can be.
Hello, Wolverine fans, alumni. Just want to let you guys know right now, Elyria Catholic lost, which means the streak continues. 28 years. Last undefeated football team in the city of Elyria was the 1994 Elyria West Wolverines. And every year, everybody knows, I light up a cigar. Every year, we're still the only undefeated team in the city of Elyria in history. So just remember that, people. Wolverines forever, Wolverines never die. E-West, Wolverines, baby.
We will continue to fight for the Wolverine spirit to remain alive in Elyria. We know how wonderful it is, and we long to see our traditions to be elevated again. We long for the city of Elyria to look at us in a different perspective. Huttman is quoted as saying, West supporters would fight to save their school, and made an analogy using the school's mascot. Remember, the Wolverine is a small animal, but very dangerous when cornered. This was a prophetic statement that he gave. We are still standing strong. As they bring the bulldozers and the wrecking balls to tear the building down. The thing is, the Wolverine spirit is not a building. It's so much more than that. And it will live on through us, through our families, through the way that we interact with each other and how we influence those around us. We will carry that legacy with us for the rest of our lives and for those who follow us. We can't change the past. We can move into a brighter future, learning from the past and making steps of hope, not retreat. Steps of unity, not division. Steps of remembering and never forgetting.